Good evening and welcome back to beautiful Berea, Ohio for some Yellow Jacket soccer on Tressel Field at George Finnie Stadium here on Baldwin Wallace University's campus. My name is Brendan Dames and I am thrilled to be here with you on senior night for the Baldwin Wallace men's soccer team as they take on the Comets of the newly named University of Olivet. Right here for you tonight on Flow College. The Yellow Jackets come into tonight's action looking to get the season back on track as a strong 3-2-1 start has been marred by four straight close one-goal losses. Most recently a 1-0 defeat on Thursday at Oberlin. That defeat to Oberlin was a goal in the final 2 minutes of that one that handed Baldwin Wallace that fourth straight loss. And on the other side, Baldwin Wallace's opponent, the Olivet Comets, well, they're looking for their fourth straight result without a loss, as they have earned 2 draws and a win over Manchester last Wednesday in their last 3 games. And so, though the Comets have been somewhat offensively challenged in the young season, they've had some real strong play from true freshman Marcel Jackson and the strong goaltender in the net, third-year starter Nicholas Van Portfleet, will definitely be presenting some challenges here tonight for the Yellow Jackets. And so we will now be meeting the starting lineups for the two teams here this evening. As before the game, we had a wonderful senior night celebration in which a number of Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets were celebrated, their friends and family, their loved ones and supporters who have helped them throughout their soccer journey, getting a moment to celebrate with them on the field pre-game. And let's now get an opportunity to meet the starters first for the Olivet Comets. In goal, as I mentioned before, making his 30th start at the D3 level is the goalkeeper Nicholas Van Portfleet. He's a junior who has a career save percentage of 74%. He sits at 75% so far here in 2025. On the back line, right in front of him will be number 2, Logan Rice, a senior. Number 4, Jaden Cantu, a senior. When all those players were lined up pre-game, Jaden Cantu, far and away the tallest player here on the pitch tonight. Next to him will be another senior, number 5, Noah Herring. And also on the back line, the freshman, number 16, Andrew Holland, and the senior, number 22, Carter Scheel. The midfielders for the Comets will be Brady Guerin, number 12, a sophomore. It's Aiden Reynolds, a senior, number 6. Kyle Buchan, a senior who's wearing the number 7 this evening. And then finally, in the attack will be number 9, Braden Abbott, who's a senior. He's got 51 games played for the Comets in his career, had 9 goals as a freshman. We'll talk about him surely much more this evening. And the head coach for the Comets is Doug Carter, his 6th season at OC. And the assistant coach is Joshua Rosendale. And so again, the aforementioned Comets here are going to be getting us started. We'll jump in and meet the Yellow Jacket starters here in just a minute. On your screen to the right side, you're going to see Olivet wearing their away red and white striped kits as they booted ahead early trying to get an attack started. Ultimately going to be cleared out here by the Yellow Jackets looking to see if they can prevent a fast start. And that is indeed what they do as they push it back towards the back line. That's going to be Mike Kane trying to make a play on the ball and Cantu, not able to do so. And so as the Yellow Jackets regain possession, we'll quickly meet some of their starters and who is playing tonight. In the net is number 0, Michael Jurgens. And so Jurgens getting a start here tonight for the Jackets, and he boots that one out of play. On the back line is Jacek Gomez. He's a sophomore, number 4. We have the freshman Thomas Getz, also on the back line, number 5. Also playing on the back line, Mas Espinal, the senior who was celebrated earlier here tonight. And in the midfield, well, before we get into the midfield, a nice attempt there by the Yellow Jackets to get something going in forward motion. Once again, that was the senior Mike Kane, as now we'll have a flag for offsides, so we'll have a Yellow Jackets free kick. In the midfield for the Yellow Jackets is the senior Owen Reyes, the sophomore Robbie Rockford, the senior Matthew Skladani, Carter Richardson, and Ben McCauley, as well as Braden Lamb. And the forward, who's already been mentioned several times here tonight, and also a senior, is number 11, Mike Kane. The Yellow Jackets head coached by Reed Ayers, who's been doing this a long time here at BW in his 24th season. So a good game here tonight. Baldwin Wallace and Olivet both looking for a victory to almost conclude a non-conference slate, if you can believe it. We now are sitting on September 27th as here comes the Jackets making a motion towards the net. And a nice job by Kane to put it on net. It ultimately was, though, saved by Van Poortvliet. Van Poortvliet was not able to secure it, but luckily for him, Kane was not able to get a foot on it as it bounced a little bit away from him there inside the goal box. And so a nice job there by the Yellow Jackets to get some early movement towards the net. The Yellow Jackets, as I mentioned at the top of the telecast, have lost 4 games in a row by 1 goal. As we have a foul there, and Olivet going to give the Yellow Jackets a free kick here on the football field's 45-yard line. And so tonight we see 2 teams who have been struggling to get goals with an opportunity before conference play to try to get something going offensively. As this one's going to be kicked out of bounds on the far side, giving Olivet an opportunity to throw in and try to gain some possession early here. Baldwin Wallace in the game's opening 3+ minutes have controlled much of the possession. As I mentioned on the away side tonight for Olivet, a player who's had a great start to his freshman season is the forward Marcel Jackson. Jackson wears the number 10, and Jackson has 2 goals for the Comets in their first 5 games of the season. He's someone Coach Carter definitely is looking to hope to spark their attack here this evening. As once again, Baldwin Wallace marches onto Olivet's side of the field. A nice job, though, in the midfield. That was Brady Guerin for Olivet, who was able to prevent an attack. But this time, again, it's going to be booted out of bounds by the Comets. And so more possession here for the Yellow Jackets. Coach Ayers and his team, though they not maybe have had the record that they're hoping for in the non-conference slates, we know, especially here at this level and within the Ohio Athletic Conference, it's all about what you're able to do in conference play. Here's a nice run going towards the nets. Once again, though, it's not able to be controlled there by Kane out in front. It looks like that was Jackson who was able to clear it out. But once again, the Yellow Jackets quick on their feet here early on. Once again, trying to push it towards the box. Too many red defenders there in the way. Now controlled here once again by the Jackets, but ultimately it's going to be cleared out, and they're looking for the number 5, Thomas Getz, the freshman, who does a nice job to keep that in bounds, although Herring is going to be able to get that back to his goaltender to switch fields and try to keep possession here with the Yellow Jackets. Nice job there by the back line to prevent any sort of attack for the visitors. And once again, we're going to have a foul. That's going to result in a free kick for the Yellow Jackets. But again, non-conference play is the time of season where you're looking to figure out the strengths of your team, figure out what's working, what's not working. And so for Coach Ayers, a great opportunity tonight to get some polish on this team before they begin that Ohio Athletic Conference slate here in just a few weeks, as now moving towards the Baldwin Wallace side of the field are the Comets. A nice job there by the defenseman Jacek Gomez, though, who wins that ball away from Getz, excuse me. And it is going to be a throw in here right in front of me. Baldwin Wallace, especially here on this back line tonight, has a lot of experience. And so they're going to be looking to take advantage of that. In the net for Baldwin Wallace, by the way, is Seth Warwick. Excuse me. Earlier, the live stats, Warwick wears the 00 and Juergens wears the 0. And so that is the 00 there in the net, Seth Warwick. Michael Juergens has not yet made an appearance. And so that would have been quite the surprise decision there by Ayers, but it is indeed the starter Warwick. As the Yellow Jackets continue to dominate possession here, as we are just about 7 minutes into the first half, and we have Skladani in the midfield controlling the ball and the possession for the Yellow Jackets. Skladani, one of the seniors who was celebrated here this evening, as that one was played for Richardson, but Richardson was not able to find anybody as he tried to slide that through to the back line. But all he was able to find was the goaltender, Van Poortvliet. And Van Poortvliet, one of the most experienced players on the pitch here tonight. And the goaltender sends it far and wide to about the football field's 32-yard line. It's going to be played nicely there by Robbie Rockford. Rockford finds Kane. Kane is striding towards the net, but a nice job there by Cantu. Cantu with some great strides to be able to catch up to Kane there on the back line, on the attacking line for the Jackets, Cantu's back line. Now once again we have Kane going towards the net, a nice pass. He puts it on net. Looks like it hit off part of the goalie as well as the crossbar. And so the Yellow Jackets keeping some pressure on here as we have Richardson on the near side, looking to try to get around Cantu, which he cannot do. And Olivet is able to get it forward into the hands of Brandon Abbott, who is now looking further once again. It looks like that's going to be off of Herring. And so it's going to be a throw-in right near the press box here for the Yellow Jackets. But some nice offensive opportunities for the Yellow Jackets here in the game's first 10 minutes. Jacob Cantu has done a nice job on the back line, as well as Andrew Holland, the freshman, for the Comets to prevent any real scoring opportunities. As once again, Cantu does a nice job to prevent an attack. And we're going to have a delayed whistle here, as it looked like there a Comet who had fallen to the turf was trying to play that ball with his foot. And so that draws a whistle. And Baldwin Wallace will have to reset things here on their own side of the pitch with 35 minutes and 43 seconds remaining here in a scoreless first half. Tonight's Yellow Jackets soccer game is being brought to you by University Hospital's Drusinski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. And so the Yellow Jackets are going to send the ball to the far side, looking to see if they can once again get some action towards the net. It's Robbie Rockford who boots it ahead to the left, and near the net, not able to get it on goal was Richardson, but his teammate on the near side was able to get it controlled. Gomez is going to put it towards the net, but it went right off the back of a defender of Olivet. And so clearing it was Herring. Herring was able to get it off of Gomez. And so a nice play there by Herring, the senior for Olivet, to hit it off of Gomez and get the possession back into his Comets' hands. A good opportunity there. Again, it was Richardson who on the left side of the field made a movement towards the net, but the ball was not able to find the back of the net nor one of his teammates in front of it. And so ultimately it's another opportunity that does not result in a goal. But Coach Ayers has to be excited about all the action and opportunities his team has been able to make here in the game's first 11 minutes. If we're talking about possession so far in this game, it has largely favored the host Yellow Jackets, as Olivet has really struggled to get more than 3 or 4 passes together into the offensive zone. Once again, Yellow Jackets hitting it ahead. It's going to be Kane chasing after it. Kane is able to get there first as he heads towards the corner. The ball hits off of the corner flag and goes out of bounds. And so we'll see if we have a corner kick or if we have a throw-in. It looks like it's going to be a throw-in near the corner. As Olivet will try to gain some possession here in the midfield, something they have not been able to do very successfully thus far today, and that continues. As now Gomez looks towards the center of the pitch where he finds Lamb. Lamb is going to ultimately work the ball all the way back around here to Gomez. But again, Baldwin Wallace happy to control some possession here, make Olivet have to use some of those fresh legs early on. Again, a game that both coaches and teams are looking to get something going offensively. And here comes once again the Yellow Jackets, but ultimately this is going to be off the right foot of Kane. Kane was about 20 yards from the goal box, and he was not able to get that anywhere near the net. And so this will be a goal kick for Olivet and the goalie, Van Portfleet. I mentioned Van Portfleet making his 30th career start here tonight. He has 170 saves in his Comets career, and he's been solid through and through, very consistent in his career, saving 3 out of every 4 shots that have come his way. And so especially at the collegiate level, it's always great for a coaching staff and for a team to feel confident that his goaltender is strong, especially behind a more inexperienced team in front of him. Olivet sees a lot of their success coming from some younger players, including the aforementioned Marcel Jackson. The Yellow Jackets fans in front of me, they wanted a penalty. They did not get it, and Olivet ultimately is able to clear it momentarily, although it is now back into the grass, number 24, Braden Lamb. Lamb doing a nice job so far, controlling that ball in the midfield. Now he's looking for Gomez here on the near side. Gomez able to get a nice touch on it. He puts it towards the nets, but it's going to be headed away by the Comets and then cleared with 2 nice more touches there by the visitors. And that will draw a whistle, and that's going to be on Baldwin Wallace. And so Olivet will now get a free kick of their own on the football field's 31-yard line, where the ball now rests. So Baldwin Wallace there. Gomez earlier had an opportunity to put it towards net and did not do so successfully. That time he was able to, but unfortunately for the Yellow Jackets, it did not result in any scoring opportunity as it was headed away by the visitors. Now the ball is bouncing around in the midfield. Got some arm play there, but ultimately the ball is able to be won by Richardson. Richardson gets it ahead to Kane. Kane's going to have to use that left foot if he wants a scoring opportunity. He puts it towards the net, and it's going to be booted past the goal line, and that will be a corner kick. And so taking the corner kick will be Skladani. And a good opportunity here on the night's first corner kick for a goal for Baldwin Wallace. And so the senior Skladani on his senior night getting ready to kick this on in the corner. He puts it towards the net. A nice ball. Not able to do anything with it is the goaltender. And the Yellow Jackets score. Oh, a beautiful corner kick off the foot of Skladani. And that was the senior, Owen Reyes. Owen Reyes able to get a head on it. And the Yellow Jackets have an early 1-0 lead. 15 minutes into the action. So that was Skladani who kicked it in from the corner. A beautiful ball that went just over Van Portfleet's hands. It then was hit off the foot of the freshman Thomas Getz. And it was beautifully placed right there for Owen Reyes, the senior on senior night, to put that one into the net. And the Yellow Jackets have a 1-0 lead here on their visitors, the Olivet Comets. Man, loving to see that must be head coach Reed Ayers. The Yellow Jackets, who have dominated so much possession and so much opportunity here in the first half, you love to see it get rewarded with an opportunity in the goal box that results in a goal. But here's a near turnover. Nice job on the back line, though, by Ben McCauley to make sure that nothing happened there. And once again, we're going to get a free kick for Baldwin Wallace. It looked like the whistle was blown there on Noah Herring. But a nice start here for the host Yellow Jackets on this beautiful Saturday evening. It's a big night in the Cleveland metropolitan area, not just because of this great matchup here tonight at Baldwin Wallace. Also across town, we have a great Major League Baseball matchup as the Cleveland Guardians are looking to potentially get their way into the playoffs. So a big sports weekend here in the Cleveland area. As once again, a nice job there on the back line by McCauley. He gets a good head on it. Olivet seeing if maybe they can try to get something going here. They are going to start moving in the direction of the net. A nice job there by Herring. Herring lays it for Yakum. Yakum puts it in front of the net. Number 7, Owen Ray. Number 7, Kyle Buchan. Owen Reyes, his number mate, but there was a whistle there. And Kyle Buchan is the one who's going to get called for offsides. It was a late whistle, or at least a whistle that I could not hear up here in the press box. But indeed, it was offsides, and so here now comes the Yellow Jackets. Yellow Jackets get it to Reyes. Reyes once again in the box. And it looks like we got some bodies on the ground, no whistle. Once again, it's going to be Baldwin Wallace going into the box. Reyes puts it on net. The ball is sent back to him, and it will ultimately be a throw in here in the near side. So both number 7s very active early on here today. For Olivet, their number 7, the aforementioned Kyle Buchan. He does have 2 assists so far this season in his career. This is his 55th career game. He has 5 goals and 10 assists. So we will continue to look to see if Buchan can make any contribution for the visiting Comets as we have a throw-in. It looks like a hit off of a hand, and so that's going to result in a free kick for the Comets. It might have gone off of the hand of Getz for the Yellow Jackets, who had the assist earlier on. But the Olivet Comets of the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association, they do have some players that have some experience and some solid numbers on the field here tonight. And so they're going to look to see if they can get back on track here, as launching the attack there was Buchan in the midfield, pushing forward towards the net. And that's going to be a header opportunity. That was Braden Abbott, the senior for the Comets, who got his head on it and was looking to put it in the back of the nets. But he was not able to do so, and it will be a goal kick, the first of the afternoon on the Yellow Jacket side. We also have some of our game's first substitutions, and once we get those for you, I'll be sure to share who is now on the field for the Comets. Braden Abbott, an interesting player for the Comets. He is a senior, as I mentioned. This is game number 52 for him, as on the near side, the Yellow Jackets begin an attack and to gather possession. Braden Abbott had 9 goals as a freshman for the Comets, but since then is only 3, including the 1 goal he has this season. And so Braden Abbott, definitely a piece that Coach Carter is hoping to unlock here to get something going on the offensive side. Coming into the game now for Olivet is the freshman Marcel Jackson as well as Steven Austin. And they are checking in for Braden Abbott and Noah Herring. So some young, fresh legs in the game for the Comets. We're in the 20th minute of this game. It's going to be a free kick from the football field's 10-yard line. Once again, it's going to be Skladani who's going to be doing the honors. A 2-man wall for the visiting Comets. Skladani, he leaves it short. It's ultimately going to be played into the box. Nice job before the whistle. That was Braden Lamb, again, the midfielder. And so this whistle is going to eliminate any scoring opportunity. And it is going to be a free kick for the Comets. You are listening to Yellow Jacket Soccer on Flow College. And tonight's game is being brought to you by Dan Andrews and Olympic Forest Products, a global recycling company. And on the far side of the pitch, it's going to be the Comets putting it towards the net. A nice job there, though, by Thomas Getz to make sure that it was not touched by a Comet. And so he heads it out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in the offensive zone here for the Comets. It looked like for a moment it was going to be Buchan who took the throw-in, but instead it's going to be Holland, the freshman, who comes up from the back line. Buchan returns to the midfield where he'll look to see if Holland can give him any opportunity. Once again, though, it's going to be headed away and ultimately out of bounds off of the Comets. And so we will have a goal kick here once again for Baldwin Wallace. In the early action, all the shots have been in favor of the host Yellow Jackets, as they have 7 shots, including 4 on goal, while the visitors have yet to have a shot on the net. He has not yet been credited officially the header, but they have had some opportunities here in this game, as that one once again goes out of bounds and going to result in yet another goal kick. So Braden Abbott was the one who had the best opportunity thus far for the Comets, as checking out is Jackson Gill. And coming into the game now is the midfielder Aiden Reynolds for the Comets. And so as we wait for some substitutions to be finalized, as it looks like they're going to send off the player who was down on the ground injured. Looks like that's Carter Scheel. Carter Scheel needing to get some medical tape. The referee took him off the field. It looked like he may have had a scrape or a cut that needed some bandage before he re-entered. The head official still over there talking to Coach Carter. I'm not sure if they're looking to see if they can get Scheel back in the game before this goal kick is kicked, but they will not, as it is going to be sent in the air by Warwick. And it's controlled by the Comets, and here they come in the attack. It's going to be Steven Austin. Steven Austin's going to be able to win a throw-in near the corner. It's going to be Holland once again who's going to make that throw. Austin, one of the substitutions who came in here just a few moments ago for the Comets. Austin, a sophomore. As the throw towards the net is dangerous as it bounces around in there, but a nice job by Reyes, tonight's goal scorer, to clear it on out of there. But the Comets now starting to make a little bit more noise on the Yellow Jackets side of the field, as Holland will boot it towards the net. He's looking for Jackson. Jackson not able to get ahead on it, but Jackson does a nice job chasing and putting pressure on Ben McCauley. And that's what we've seen a lot of this year when you look at the tape of the Comets. Number 10, Marcel Jackson, using that length and that speed to put pressure on his opponents. Did a nice job there to earn a throw-in for his teammates. But this one ultimately going to be cleared out of there by Baldwin Wallace as they compete for it near the football field's 40-yard line. A nice job there to win it by Rockford, who saves it before it goes out of bounds. And now he wins a throw-in for the Yellow Jackets. And we are officially more than halfway through the opening half here tonight. Baldwin Wallace leads 1-0, as in the 15th minute, it was the senior Reyes who once again is streaking towards the net. Nice job there by number 24, Braden Lamb, to keep the possession alive, as now it's going to be Rockford. Rockford puts it towards the net, and Owen Reyes is there to put it in again. How about that? Robbie Rockford put it on the net, deflected right to Reyes, who said, "Thank you very much." And he puts it in the back of the net for his second goal of the afternoon. And Owen Reyes, have yourself a senior night. 2 goals in the first 23 minutes of action here tonight. And the Yellow Jackets, coming off of 4 straight 1-goal losses, are out to a 2-0 lead here against the Olivet Comets. And this is something that we know Coach Ayers and his staff are thrilled to see, as his team has really come out here and played well thus far. Owen Reyes, a player that if he could contribute the way that we've seen him contribute tonight in these first 23 minutes, could really make a difference in the Ohio Athletic Conference. Coming in to play here tonight, Reyes has played in 9 of the 10 games for the Yellow Jackets and had not yet scored on his 11 shots. He did have 1 assist, but these 2 goals, a very welcome sight here on senior night for the Yellow Jackets, who are looking to get some momentum going here in the non-conference play. Olivet, who also came in tonight looking for some of that similar energy, some of that offensive optimism, have not yet been able to see that on their end. As again, the official stats here show we have 5 shots on net for the Yellow Jackets and not 1 for the Comets. Still plenty of time in this one, as we're just under 20 minutes remaining in the first half. Here's a nice job, though, by number 13, Carter Richardson, putting pressure on Olivet. Richardson still trying to win the ball. He does. Here comes his teammates in the attack. That was Mike Kane looking to see if he could put it once again towards the net. You know Owen Reyes would love to have a senior night hat trick. And he's got quite a bit of time left in this one to do it. And with all the opportunities we've seen for the Yellow Jackets thus far on the offensive end, one should not rule that out yet. So the ball's being batted around, headed around near the box. It's going to be the Yellow Jackets on the far side of the field trying to put it towards the middle of the net. Kane gets a foot on it. Nothing able to happen there with that. And then ultimately it's going to be booted. That may have gone through the field goal posts here. But unfortunately, in this game of soccer, you do not get any points for that. They would have gotten some points for that earlier today, as the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets took on Mount Union in a football game, but not here tonight in our soccer matchup. A very busy day here on Baldwin Wallace's campus in Tressel Field. Looking to put it towards the net, Olivet trying to get an opportunity to put a shot on goal, but a nice job there by the back line of Baldwin Wallace to make sure that does not happen. And once again, running hard is Carter Richardson there on the far side. The sophomore, number 13, really doing a nice job putting pressure on Olivet here in the opening half. Well, we get a substitution. I'd like to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket soccer match is being brought to you by BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket athletics. And so as we come up here on 17 remaining minutes in the first half of this match, Olivet looking to see if they can get something going. A little bit of sloppy play here in the midfield in the meantime. Although here, Olivet looking to see if they can get something out to Buchan. Buchan not able to get his head turned in the right direction of that ball. And so it will be a throw-in for Gomez. Checking out for the Yellow Jackets here on this substitution is the aforementioned Richardson, who's had a really nice half. Olivet looking to see if they can get anything going as Tyler Brooks, the senior, comes in for Baldwin Wallace. One of my favorite things about college sports are senior nights when seniors, especially seniors who maybe don't get a chance to play quite as often, get those opportunities. A really nice round of applause when Brooks came into the game. Here comes Olivet looking to see if they can make something happen. On the far side, that's going to be kicked towards the net. Not able to get cleared out initially, but a nice job there by Gomez. As Olivet continues to put a little bit of pressure on. A lot of this pressure in the zone has not resulted in opportunities for scoring, but nonetheless, it has resulted in some opportunities for Baldwin Wallace to have to defend. And again, please excuse my error on the number change here. That was actually number 19, Michael Gigante, who came in for the Yellow Jackets, not number 19, Tyler Brooks, for the Comets. A lot of common numbers here. And that, again, was Michael Gigante, who is indeed a senior for the Yellow Jackets, who got that nice round of applause, as once again the Yellow Jackets looking to push it across the field. Gomez not able to run that down. But a good 30 minutes of action thus far for the hosts. As right here in front of me, and now going to the far side of the field are the Comets. As that's Andrew Holland, the freshman. And though this has been a tough first half for the Comets, you can see just how some of the youth that this team has is going to be something that benefits them in the coming years. Andrew Holland, a good defensive presence for Coach Carter, as well as the freshman Marcel Jackson, who's looking to chase that one down. He's not able to do so, as Seth Warwick, the junior from Avon, is able to get that ball for the Yellow Jackets. And one of the beauties of Division III athletics, especially in the MIAA for the Comets, is that a lot of these programs get the opportunity to really develop and build these players. And when a player like Jackson comes in and already has the prowess and athleticism that he shows as a freshman, it really raises the ceilings of what they could become. Here's a scoring opportunity, but the offsides flag is up. And so even though Warwick was able to make a nice play on it and make the save on a would-be header, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because offsides for the Comets was Brady Gearin. 13:39 remaining here in the first half. Baldwin Wallace leads 2-0. Both goals tonight by the senior Owen Reyes. Reyes, who came into this game not having scored yet in his senior year, now is just one goal away from a senior night hat trick. Is there really anything else that a senior could ask for than to have an opportunity to go for a hat trick on senior night? And we now once again get a free kick, and that's going to be Van Portfleet, who is going to be doing the honors from the football field's 38-yard line. Van Portfleet tonight has allowed 2 goals, but from my view up here, it's hard to put too much blame on him considering the opportunities that were presented to him in front of him. As this free kick, a nice job there by Gano. Gano was able to make sure that did not get past him in the football field's midfield line. And ultimately, he actually wins his team a free kick as his teammate Buchan was fouled. And so this is going to be a good scoring opportunity here for the Comets as they'll take the free kick from the 33-yard line. It's going towards the net. A number of players heading towards the net. It's headed around a few times. Lots of bodies, lots of action, and ultimately it's going to be kicked out of bounds. It looks like that was Marcel Jackson who did get the last foot on it. Jackson was trying to get it in the back of the net. Ultimately, it went wide and a little bit high. And so the score will remain here 2-0 with 11:33 remaining in the first half. We have a range of substitutions here that we'll catch you up on in a minute. Again, the Yellow Jackets looking to make something happen in the final 11 minutes of this excellent first half for the hosts. Coming into this one with a 4-game skid. You know they love to have this early offense, as once again it looks like they're going to try to put some pressure on here. Instead, it's going to be a nice play by the Comets, and streaking up the field trying to put some pressure on it was Kendrick, but ultimately not able to run it down. It was a nice job by Getz for the Yellow Jackets. BW wins a throw on the far side of the field. It's batted around in the midfield and ultimately going to be pushed forward. Not having to do much but take a few steps back is Warwick, who's able to control it for the Yellow Jackets. Warwick has not had nearly as much action in front of him as Van Poortvliet has on the other side of the pitch. As we have some good battling here, and ultimately going to end up back into Braden Lamb's lap, who pushes it forward. Lamb not able to make that pass successful to Gigante, but Gigante is able to win it back. And here come once again the Yellow Jackets on the attack. Gigante goes down hard, and so that's going to be a yellow card. Gigante hit the deck hard. Similar to a hit you might have seen earlier today while the football team was on the field. But luckily, Gigante, the senior, able to get up and shake it off. And so we are going to have a free kick for the Yellow Jackets. It's going to be placed near the football field's 36-yard line. As it looks like now instead of a 2-man wall, we'll have the old-fashioned 1-man wall. And Marcel Jackson kicking it towards the net. The Yellow Jackets going towards the net and not able to get a nice touch on it. And it is ultimately going to be an offensive foul on the hosts. To catch you up on those substitutions for Olivet, now checking in is Tyler Kendrick. Coming off was Stephen Austin. We also now in the game is Nate Uzray, Braden Beggs, McGuire Alden, and Brady Brown for Baldwin Wallace. 9:24 to go here in the first half of play. A few more substitutions as checking out for the Yellow Jackets is Mike Kane. Kane has been busy here in the first half. While he doesn't have a goal on the score sheet, he had lots of opportunities and made a lot happen on the offensive side. As once again, we're going to have a throw in here near the near side corner. Olivet still looking for that first good scoring opportunity of the game. And here in the near side, it's going to be Gano putting it towards the nets. But ultimately, that's going to be hauled in by Warwick. And so, again, not a tremendous scoring opportunity there, but a scoring opportunity in the box nonetheless. As Baldwin Wallace not able to maintain possession quite as much as they have previously. Here comes an opportunity for Marcel Jackson. He takes it off the left foot. It's saved by Warwick. Saved by Warwick. What an unbelievable save by Warwick on the freshman Jackson. And that was the first scoring opportunity of the game for Olivet. And Warwick was there to meet the challenge. Man, and Marcel Jackson with a great opportunity with the defender all draped over him to put it towards the net. And instead, a nice save by Warwick. And now Warwick is going to get an opportunity to kick a goal kick here with 7:38 remaining in the first half, as it's defended nicely by the Yellow Jackets. But man, what a great play there by Warwick, especially in a game like this where he's not had a lot of those opportunities to really have to lock in and make that big save, to be able to do so in such a key moment there where Jackson was able to do such a nice job to make sure that Baldwin Wallace defender was not able to get the first touch. And even though Jackson really only had half of his body able to get power on that kick, it still was hit hard. But Warwick with a really nice save, and we remain 2-0 here in the first half. As Baldwin Wallace does a nice job to prevent another corner or another throw in there. It's going to be battled on the far side of the field. Nice job there by Lamb. And is now going to be reversed to the near side of the field. A really nice touch there by Uzre. And ultimately, the ball is going to go out of bounds, and it is going to be a throw-in for the Comets. Nate Uzre, the junior, checking in and getting some time here on the midfield for the host Yellow Jackets. As going on to the attack for a moment there were the Comets, but not for long as the back line of the Yellow Jackets shut that down. We now are going to have a whistle, as that is going to go on Uzre, who made just a little bit too much body contact on Buchan. And so we'll have a free kick almost directly in front of me here on the football field's 46-yard line. 5:37 to go in the first half. Baldwin Wallace leads 2-0. Olivet looking to see if they can get in on the scoring action. A really nice ball, but ultimately is going to be headed away and kicked away by number 30, Braden Beggs, the sophomore for Baldwin Wallace. And that's kind of been the theme of the half, is even when Olivet has a nice kick, a nice play, Baldwin Wallace has been there to answer. Now coming up the near side of the field is Baldwin Wallace looking to see if they can make some noise. And some really physical play here. That was Michael Gigante. Gigante, who fell hard earlier in this one, collided with Jaden Cantu, with the soccer turf ending and the track right there on the edge. You never like to see a player take a tumble and fall onto the track for fear of injury or some scrapes and cuts and bruises. But luckily, both players seem to be just fine. And we now have 4 minutes and 19 seconds remaining here in the first half of this action-packed first half. And you have to imagine that we will continue to see lots of action in half number 2 based on the way this game has gone. And we also have seen both coaches really be able to utilize their depth and their benches here in the first half. As a nice play by Usre to make that a throw-in. It's going to lead towards an opportunity here for the hosts. A nice job there by Lamb. Lamb's going to send it wide, reset the attack, put towards the middle of the net. Usre is there, but not able to get a first touch on it, and it is going to be a goal kick for Van Portfleet and the Comets. So a good opportunity there, but not able to get a touch on it was Usre. Usre's been busy here, making some nice plays and opportunities off the bench for the junior. We have 3 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the first half as Olivet looking to see if maybe they can get some sort of opportunity to get one in the net here in the first half, as pushing towards the net in the corner around two defenders. A nice play there by Kendrick. Kendrick puts it towards the middle of the field where it's going to be cleared out and into the stands here right in front of me as it bounces back into the field of play. It's going to be a throw-in taken by Gano. Gano once again looking for Kendrick. Kendrick centers it. Look at this action and this peskiness of Baldwin Wallace forcing the ball to go across the field and out of bounds. Really nice job there. That was Gavin Nixon, the freshman for Baldwin Wallace. He was running hard and putting a lot of pressure on Olivet. It resulted in an opportunity. Now going towards the net. And oh man, a collision once again on that back line. That was the senior Gigante. Gigante not able to get a touch on it. And indeed, it's even going to be called a penalty. And so it will be a free kick for Van Portfleet. Gigante, when he is running downhill, he is a bull. And there's been lots of contact and lots of opportunities for him with that size. Him and Cantu. Cantu, also one of the tallest players on the pitch here tonight, have had a number of collisions, and they have been big because those are two strong players. Here's a ball up towards the offensive zone for Olivet, but it's going to be played smartly by Seth Warwick. And so Warwick is able to maintain. And now with just under 90 seconds in this first half, you wonder if Baldwin Wallace will be content to try to use some possession to get into the locker room at 2-0. But some nice possession here is creating a scoring opportunity as they look to push it wide. That ball, though, just too strong, and it is going to be a throw-in. Olivet going to have a throw-in from the football field's 22-yard line on their own side of the field. So if they want to get a goal here in the first half and in the final 45 seconds, they better do it now. Well, here comes an opportunity, a good opportunity, but unfortunately for the visitors, the ball got poked outside and it was deflected away. We now just have 35 seconds remaining. Olivet needs to work with some hurry up here, and it doesn't seem right now they have that. I guess they're really hoping that this throw-in is going to be the one final play of the half. Here comes that throw-in. It's going to be knocked around. No one's home besides the Yellow Jackets. And Olivet, in the final 10 seconds of this half, is going to see the clock wind down as the ball gets punched out back onto their own side of the field. A dangerous header that's headed away as the ball bounces down. Oh my goodness, what a strange final 15 seconds to this half. But no complaints from the home team here tonight, as Coach Reed Ayers' team has a 2-0 lead at halftime over the visiting Olivet Comets. Both first half goals by Owen Reyes, the senior, on senior night. Thanks for listening here on Flow College to the first half of action. We'll have a short break. We'll have a short halftime show, and then we'll be back for the second half of action. You've been listening to Yellow Jacket Soccer on Flow College. Welcome back to Tressel Field at George Finnie Stadium at Baldwin Wallace University here tonight. At halftime, it is 2-0 Yellow Jackets over the Olivet Comets. Tonight's Yellow Jackets soccer game is being brought to you by Barron's Bus Lines, the official charter bus company of Yellow Jacket Athletics, and also Mike's Bar and Grill in downtown Berea. A great place before or after any Yellow Jacket event. And so looking at the halftime statistics here, it was a first half that overall was dominated by the host Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets, as the visiting Olivet Comets struggled mightily, especially on the offensive side of things. The Yellow Jackets lead in shots by period 9-2. For the goaltender on the away side, Van Poortvliet does have 3 saves to his 2 goals allowed. And Seth Warwick had the 1 save in the first half. A great opportunity on a really nice play by the freshman Marcel Jackson for Olivet. But Warwick was able to make an even better save. And that resulted in the game staying at 2-0 late in the first half. As we mentioned several times tonight, the senior Owen Reyes has both goals for BW and a couple assists across the lineup, as the freshman Thomas Getz collected an assist on the first goal. The freshman Getz, who does play on that back line in front of Warwick, collected an assist in those 45 minutes, one of only 2 players for Baldwin Wallace to play the entire half, the other being Ben McCauley in the midfield. And the other assists went to Robbie Rockford and Matthew Skladani for the hosts. So we'll see here in the second half if Olivet has any answer to what Baldwin Wallace has been doing. And more interestingly as well, will Owen Reyes on senior night be able to get that hat trick? We'll be back in a few minutes here for the second half of action. Once again, you are listening to Yellow Jacket Men's Soccer on Flow College. Welcome back to Tressel Field as we are just under 2 minutes remaining here in this halftime break as the second half between Baldwin Wallace and Olivet is upcoming here as the host Yellow Jackets have a 2-0 lead on this beautiful Saturday evening in Berea. Tonight's Yellow Jacket soccer match is being brought to you by Medical Mutual of Ohio, the official healthcare provider of Baldwin Wallace University. And Baldwin Wallace not the only OAC team today in action. Across the league, a number of final scores from earlier this afternoon. In Center Valley, PA, it was Mount Union defeating DeSales 2-0. In Ohio, we had a number of matchups, including Ohio Northern, the projected preseason champion of the OAC on the men's soccer side, drawing with Kenyon College. In Oberlin, where Baldwin Wallace had the heartbreaker just a few days ago, the Muskingum men's soccer team was able to defeat Oberlin 3-2 there in Oberlin. In Delaware, Ohio, Ohio Wesleyan was able to defeat Marietta 3-1. And in Michigan, Alma was able to defeat Heidelberg 2-1. And for the OAC right now, a 2-0 lead over the MIAA Olivet Comets. Coming into this one, Baldwin Wallace with a 3-6-1 record, including 4 straight losses by 1 goal. Just 2 days ago, losing in the final 2 minutes of the game at Oberlin. And for the Comets, they had not taken a defeat in their last 3 games, winning a game against Manchester and adding 2 more draws to their slate. And so far in this game, we've only seen the opposite of those 2 trends. And for Baldwin Wallace, I imagine they're hoping to see that continue, while Coach Carter and his Comets during the halftime break trying to figure out what they can do to get anything going offensively, as it really was a challenging half outside of one opportunity from the freshman Marcel Jackson. The Comets did not pose much of a threat to Seth Warwick and Baldwin Wallace in the first 45 minutes of play. But that's why we play 2 halves. And we'll see if the first half is much like the second, or if maybe in the second half we have a new narrative and chapter, and Olivet is certainly hoping for the latter. As we wait the official whistle, there it is, and we are underway here in half number 2. As right away, Olivet immediately gained some possession, something we did not see much of in that first half. A fast start is something Coach Carter, I imagine, is definitely hoping for, as that one ultimately didn't go across the end line and results in a goal kick for the Yellow Jackets. Again, there, the sophomore Tyler Kendrick providing some good pressure for Olivet. Olivet kind of pushing up here in the opening minutes, looking to put some pressure on Baldwin Wallace. In the first 10 minutes of the first half, it was all Yellow Jackets, and it really culminated with that first goal by Owen Reyes. Owen Reyes then was able to use that to spark a 2-goal half. Here comes a great scoring opportunity, but a really nice play there by Seth Warwick. Seth Warwick did a nice job of seeing that play coming towards him. He came up and made sure to punch that away. And so Olivet will get a throw in, but it'll be deep in their own defensive end. A good first minute for Baldwin Wallace, as ultimately it looks like that was whistled back, and so no corner needed whatsoever. As I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, Baldwin Wallace in the final now portion of their non-conference slate, as their a kick went far wide by Carter Richardson, the sophomore, and it will be Van Portfleet doing the goal kick duties for the visitors. But a really great sign for the Yellow Jackets, who have had some heartbreakers here in the last 2 weeks, to come out strong and to see the senior Reyes have 2 goals, someone that I know Coach Ayers is hoping to continue to show some of that offensive prowess throughout the rest of this season. Similar to the reason why you have 2 halves, you also have a non-conference slate and a conference slate for a reason as well. In non-conference play, you really get an opportunity to figure out what your team strengths and weaknesses are. And here tonight, a lot more strengths than weaknesses for the Yellow Jackets. As the Yellow Jackets maintain possession here early in half number 2. They certainly, even though they have the 2-0 lead, do not want to get too comfortable. And Olivet here is able to win a free kick near the corner on the far side of the field. It's going to be Van Portfleet taking this corner. He boots it far and away, about 65 yards down the field. That's one thing I love about watching a soccer match on a football field, is you really get an idea of how far these guys are kicking the ball. And that one went from about the goal line of the north end zone down to the 35-yard line of the south side end zone. Here comes the free kick for Olivet. Goes towards the net. It's going to be first touched by Olivet. Jackson then gets a head on it. And it is going to be a penalty on Jackson. And so that foul is going to give another free kick to Baldwin Wallace. Jackson went in there with a head of steam looking to get a header into the back of the net, but instead only comes up with a whistle. As Baldwin Wallace now looks to launch their attack, and here they come. It's going to be Richardson. Richardson continues his good play here this afternoon, and he finds Skladani. Skladani looks towards the middle of the field, nobody home. Marcel Jackson's here. If he's in open space, he's trouble, but he is not able to do anything with it. And that's going to be a throw-in for Baldwin Wallace. As Aspinall does the duties of throwing it in, it's going to be Richardson who gets the first touch on it. Boots it towards the middle. Rockford continues to battle for it, not able to get it. And out of bounds is Olivet. And it will ultimately look like it's going to be a foul called. Tough to hear the whistle from up here tonight, folks, so I apologize for that when I do not hear the whistle and the ball and the play continues. But again, that is going to be a foul, and it is going to be a kick here for the Comets. We are more than 5 minutes now into the second half of action. No score yet here. But now here comes Baldwin Wallace, seeing if they can make something happen. That's Mike Kane. Mike Kane, though, that last touch, whether that was off of Kane or an Olivet defenseman, went way high up in the air. And streaking over to make the play was Van Portfleet, who now is going to boot it. That was a line drive. Not what Van Portfleet wanted there. Here comes the attack. It's going to be Richardson, who looked to try to get it through defense, not able to do so. Richardson then recovers it on the far side of the field, and it's going to be wide and another goal kick opportunity. Somebody fell hard in the box there for the Yellow Jackets, and he continues to lay on the turf. That is Mike Kane. And Mike Kane, unfortunately, still down there in pain. A few times has tried to get up. Looks like he's holding that right side of his body. We hope Kane is okay. Some physical play near the goal box there. Looks like that was the junior Ian Brown looking to try to make sure that Kane did not get the third goal in the back of the net. And everyone seems to be okay. And Brown did a nice job there to defend, and no penalty or foul there whatsoever. And so it will be a free kick. 38-38 remaining here in half number 2. Another booming kick. This one going to be controlled by Olivet, though. And ultimately, once again, it's Baldwin Wallace interjecting themselves into that with Skladani. And he's able to get it to Rockford. But Rockford not able to maintain possession. Marcel Jackson not able to maintain possession, but I did hear that whistle. And that is going to be a free kick for the Comets. Thus far in half number 2, the man with the 2 goals of the evening, Owen Reyes, has not been able to make anything happen. So we'll see if we see him at any point in this second half. With a lead at 2-0. And we saw it in the first half. A lot of depth was used by Coach Ayers. We'll see if that continues in half number 2. But we'll keep you updated. We definitely want to see if there's an opportunity for Reyes to get that hat trick here this evening. As we have another whistle. This one just outside of the box. Another 2 yards towards the net, and that will be trouble for the Yellow Jackets. Instead, it's going to just be a free kick on the football field's 12-yard line. Or make it the 13-yard line. And it looks like Baldwin Wallace is going to get a wall about 10 yards out in front. They have 5 defenders ready to try to prevent a shot on goal here. At least initially, it looks like for the Comets, it's going to be the senior Carter Scheel that's doing the kicking, although he has a teammate also to his left. And it is indeed going to be the teammate, and that was Gill. Gill's not able to get a shot on net, although it ends up going through the box, and it's going to be ultimately called back. It looks like an offsides. And so a nice job there by the wall to do what it was put in place to do, which was to defend that kick. And with 36-18 remaining in the second half, we remain Baldwin Wallace 2 and Olivet nothing. As we get a throw-in on the far side of the field, I'd like to remind you that today's Yellow Jackets soccer match is being brought to you by University Hospital, Drzezinski Sports Medicine Institute, the proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. And we now get the ball here on the near side for the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets, again, if you're just joining us, wearing their home white and brown striped kits, while the visiting University of Olivet's Comets are wearing their red kits with white stripes. Here in the second half, Olivet certainly has been much more competitive, and especially in maintaining some possession and opportunities on their side of the field. And so Coach Carter's team definitely continuing to put their best foot forward. Although here, a little bit too excited on the far side was Tyler Kendrick, as he was offsides. And just kind of the story of the evening so far for Olivet, they had some nice possession, they make a nice pass, but just a little overzealous and not able to hold themselves on sides. As coming up the near side now for Baldwin Wallace as Espinal. Espinal does a nice job to win that throw in. He's going to be pushing it forward, looking to get that ball as Richardson. Richardson does a nice job to get around one defender. He now is going to try to pass it off, not able to do so, but it is going to be ultimately controlled in the midfield by Skladani. And that one is going to be pushed past the goal line out of bounds. And it's going to be a goal kick for Van Portfleet and the Comets. 33:56 remaining here in half number 2. Even though Baldwin Wallace, for the overall evening, is still dominating the statistics, in the second half, Olivet has played much better and has had much more opportunities in the offensive zone, even though they don't have a shot on the net. Unfortunately for them, the only statistic they seem to be leading in this half is in offside calls, with 3 to Baldwin Wallace's 1. Baldwin Wallace here maintaining some possession. They'll work it back to Warwick. Warwick, a big save in the first half on the freshman Marcel Jackson. Jackson went down hard, or excuse me, that might have been Cantu on the far side. Looks like Marcel Jackson is in the middle of the field getting ready for a pass. It's going to ultimately, though, be pushed out of bounds, and it will be a goal kick. Can't see who that is on the far side of the field. I'll try to make out that number. A hard fall. Oh, that's fellow freshman for the Comets, number 16, Andrew Holland. Holland and Jackson, both really impressive freshmen for this Comets program, as this one batted around and ends up back with Van Portfleet. And especially in this case for Olivet, I think it's never easy. It's never fun to go through a season where you're not able to get bunches of goals and see bunches of wins in the win column. But when you see young players who, not only statistically, but also just with that basic eye test, as once again we see Jackson showing some of his speed, that was quite aggressive and did draw a whistle. But it definitely makes it much easier to go through growing pains when you can see the young potential and the young skill level of a Holland, of a Jackson that we see here tonight for Olivet. On the host side, we also have seen that tonight, especially in the back line with Jacek Gomez, the sophomore, and Thomas Getz, the freshman, 2 defensemen for Baldwin Wallace who really have played a key role tonight, especially on the offensive side of things. And I think that's something that for Baldwin Wallace to be at their best, they really rely on all 11 players to be a part of that offensive opportunity. Not a team that finds themselves pushing up all that often, but when they're at their best, you see that possession in the midfield create opportunities where the defensemen can also kind of go up that wing side and provide that opportunity to get those midfielders towards the net. And you saw that a lot here in the first half, where Jacek Gomez was able to, on the near side here towards the Tressel Field sign, provide that second layer of attack and create some good scoring opportunities. As we have a delay here, as it looked like there was a player down who has since jogged off for Olivet. And so we hold play for a minute here before we'll have a free kick for the Yellow Jackets. Baldwin Wallace, a team who, if they are going to be more competitive in the OAC, certainly wants to continue to learn what it takes for them to have more and more opportunities on net. And again, that first OAC matchup against Capital coming on Saturday at 2 p.m. in Bexley, Ohio next weekend. OAC getting ready to be fast and furious here, as between October 4th and October 11th, those first 3 OAC games will be complete for Baldwin Wallace. They then have an opportunity to play a Division I team in the University of Dayton on the road on October 15th, as here comes Olivet pushing towards the nets. Not able to get a foot on it, but instead is the goaltender Warwick, who is able to make that play. Just one stride too late was Jackson. And Warwick was able to get his mitts on it. And so the score still holds. Baldwin Wallace 2, Olivet 0. Just over 30 minutes remaining here in the half. As this ball gets pushed ahead, and that's going to be into the arms of the other goaltender. That's Nicholas Van Poortvliet. And Van Poortvliet, he received a body blow that time. It looked like for Baldwin Wallace, that was number 18, Omar Al-Labi. And Van Poortvliet is still down. So you don't like to see that if you're Coach Carter in the Comets. Van Poortvliet, again, making his 30th career start tonight. And that hit's going to give Al-Halabi a yellow card. I mean, that was a bang-bang play. Not much I don't think Al-Halabi could do to prevent a collision, as he was looking for that ball and had a great opportunity to get that ball. But Van Poortvliet now, he's all right. He's going to make the kick. And it is going to be controlled nicely by Baldwin Wallace with a few headers. It is going to be won momentarily in the midfield and now kicked out towards the side by Olivet. So Olivet, again, they've played a much better second half here tonight than they did in the opening 20 minutes of this one. Olivet continuing to put some pressure on. They try to get it towards the net. It's going to go off the back of a defender of Baldwin Wallace. That was McCauley. Once again, though, controlled by Olivet. Olivet on the far side of the field, putting it towards the net, and it will go wide and out of play. And so another goal kick coming up here for the Yellow Jackets. As Olivet, once again, putting some pressure on. A really nice crowd here tonight on senior night. Had a great senior night ceremony here earlier in the action. As this one is going to be misplayed by the goaltender. It's going to be put in front and knocked away. Again, I think that Warwick there was surprised at how high that ball got up in the air. And he was not able to get his mitts on it, but luckily for him, that ball took a funny bounce after it went past his arm. And ultimately, it trickled out of bounds off of a Baldwin Wallace defender. So we will have a corner kick now here for the Comets. On the far side of the field, it's put towards the net. And unfortunately for the Comets, it went over everybody. Trying to save it and momentarily saving it on the boundary was Cantu, but Cantu gets too aggressive now with Rockford. And that's going to be a free kick for the Yellow Jackets. So a couple dangerous moments here in the second half. Warwick having even more action on his end so far in half number 2 than Van Poortvliet. And again, this being a non-conference matchup, of course, Coach Carter at the Comets, they want to get a goal. They want to get a chance to try to even this thing up or maybe even win it. But when you're not in conference play yet, all of this positive play and all of these things that you can do well are really important before you start playing those games that really matter, that are going to determine whether or not these teams are going to be able to meet those goals of being champions of their conference. 27 minutes remaining here in half number 2. Olivet making a throw-in on the far side of the field. It's battled, kicked around, and that is going to be a throw-in won by the Yellow Jackets. Lots of play on the far side of the field currently. This one going to just be booted ahead, and that's going to go right to Van Poortvliet, who's going to play it at his feet. Richardson going to try to go after him, so Van Poortvliet's going to pick it up and going to toss it. Now launching the attack is Holland. Holland launching the attack on the near side. Kicks it towards the middle of the field where Warwick is able to play it. And Warwick's going to do the same thing Van Portfleet did, and he's going to throw it ahead, though it is intercepted. Not a great pass there. It's going to result in a potential scoring opportunity. Instead, it's going to be booted out by the defense, then put back on the net by the Comets. But Buchan kicked it almost right to Warwick in the net. And so the Yellow Jackets continue to pitch a shutout here. Coach Ayers probably looking to see if they can get some more offensive motion towards the net, though, here in half number 2. Not many scoring chances for the hosts yet in the first 20 minutes of this half. This is going to be played by Jackson, not able to make a play on it quite yet, but it is now going to be controlled. Here comes Jackson in front of the pack, but it's going to be Warwick who boots it away. And a nice job there by Richardson to make a play on it. Richardson looking to try to start an attack, but he's going to draw or commit a foul. And so it looked like that might have been Tyler Kendrick who hit the turf. And so Richardson not able to make something happen. Again, the ball took a bit of a strange bounce there. Richardson not expecting it to go back towards the midfield line. He was getting ready to try to make a launch towards Van Portfleet on the back line, but instead it bounced the other way, and now here comes once again an opportunity, and a nice job by Warwick. So the opportunities aplenty here in the second half for Olivet. Warwick did a nice job anticipating an opportunity and was able to get to that ball before Jackson or another Olivet attacker was able to. 24:09 remaining in this one. Baldwin Wallace leading 2-0. A game where Baldwin Wallace has really shown some stretches of strong play, as now in front of us here is Owen Reyes, not able to get to that one. In the second half, Olivet has been quite competitive, and now here comes Kendrick. That's going to be headed away by Warwick. A really heady play, no pun intended, as he was able to head that just outside the box. He could not use his hands in that instant, and so he does a nice job to get a head on it, and that's not going to allow Olivet to get yet another opportunity. And now here comes Baldwin Wallace on the counterattack, although a nice job there by Olivet's Jaden Cantu to make sure that there's not an odd man break for the hosts. So while we have not yet seen a goal here in half number 2 after seeing 2 in the first half, the action has still been plentiful on both sides. Olivet definitely making Warwick work much more in half number 2. And we now will get a whistle, and a Olivet defender went down hard. It looked like he caught that ball straight in the stomach area. And for anyone who's ever played soccer, you know how incredibly painful and hard that is when that first happens. As an official looks to wave on a medical personnel member to check on the injured Comet. Well, we have this break. We would like to remind you that tonight's Yellow Jacket soccer match is being brought to you by BSN Sports and Nike, the official apparel and uniform provider for Yellow Jacket Athletics. Yellow Jackets Athletics is also being brought to you by University Hospital's Drzezinski Sports Medicine Institute, proud official healthcare provider for BW Athletics and its student athletes. And so we have this short injury break and delay while the teams have a quick timeout. We mentioned earlier tonight that in the early portion of the afternoon here at Tressel Field. The Baldwin Wallace football team hosted the number 2 ranked Mount Union football team. And it was a great competitive battle in the first half as Baldwin Wallace took the lead on the number 3 team in the country with just a minute 13 remaining in the second quarter as Charlie Bubonics found Tim Conwell for a 10-yard touchdown pass. But with just 3 seconds remaining in the first half, Mount Union responded as Mikey Maloney found Wyatt Steele for a 3-yard pass, and Mount Union would not look back from there as Mount Union ultimately defeated the Yellow Jackets 42-23. But it has been a great football season so far for the Yellow Jackets, who had won all 3 games prior to today's loss. And again, for anybody who knows Division III football, Mount Union is one of the powerhouses who is routinely competing for national championships. And so if you're Baldwin Wallace and you were able to go toe-to-toe with a team like that for as long as they did today, you know you got yourself quite a team and will have lots more great action in Berea throughout the season. The next home game for folks who want to come out and check out the Baldwin Wallace football team will be on Saturday, October 18th at 1:30 as the Yellow Jackets take on Rose Holman. So be sure to check out that game. You can find it right here on Flow College, as that one is also going to be put towards the net and ultimately goes wide. Not a single Olivet player there able to get a touch on it, so it just went wide of the net, I think almost to Warwick's surprise. .44 remaining here in half number 2. The score remains the same as it did at the halftime break. Olivet continuing to put some pressure on as they control the ball on the far side of the field. Baldwin Wallace does a nice job to interject, and now they can, if they want, start an attack 3-on-3, but they're not able to do so, and instead the ball will go out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in 1 by Olivet. I mentioned that Olivet plays in the MIAA, or the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association. And similar to the Yellow Jackets, they will begin their conference play soon as well. Their next game after tonight will be next Saturday at Calvin, and then Tuesday the 7th against Adrian. As on the far side of the field, going down hard was Richardson, and so Richardson draws a flag from the official, and it is going to be a free kick from the football field's 19-yard line. Perhaps an opportunity for the Yellow Jackets to get one of their first scoring opportunities here of half number 2. It is going to be Richardson who drew the penalty, taking the kick for BW. And here comes the boot. It's on the ground, and a nice job by Van Portfleet. Richardson kicked that thing, and I don't think it ever found the air. It was a nice ball, but a nice job by Van Portfleet to make sure that there wasn't an opportunity for it to slip through and find the foot of a Yellow Jacket. As now we're going to have a throw-in for the Comets. That's Braden Abbott, the senior forward, directing traffic, and he's going to try to get this towards the front of the nets. Here comes the throw. It does get towards the box. It's going to be batted around in there. That might be trouble. It's off a defender's arm. Oh, a dangerous moment there for the Yellow Jackets. Looked like that ball deflected off of Gomez's arm. But again, a nice job in the back line by Warwick to make sure that it did not get past that goal line. And so we remain a 2-0 score here with under 20 minutes remaining. Olivet's doing a nice job to keep the pressure on here in half number 2. They just have not been able to get anything towards the net. Now on the far side, that's Richardson. There's going to be a slide on the ball. They call it clean, and so play will continue on. Richardson does a nice job to win it, but ultimately it's going to be kicked out of bounds, and Olivet would now get a chance to start on their attack, and they're going to start running for sure. Here comes Marcel Jackson on the near side. He has to control it. He kicks it towards the middle of the net, and a nice job there by Baldwin Wallace to make sure it doesn't get any farther than that. So back and forth these two teams go right now, up and down this field, as Baldwin Wallace now takes their turn. As moving towards the net and putting it on, or over net, I should say, is Al-Halabi. And Al-Halabi just a few feet high over the nets. And so we will get another goal kick here with 18:02 remaining in the second half. As Port Van Fleet boots it towards midfield. That ball stayed in bounds. Richardson did a nice job, but an even better job there by Buchan to keep possession momentarily for the visitors. There's been a number of times today where there's been some very physical play from these two clubs. A number of players who have had to stay down for more than a minute to pick themselves up and be able to get ready to go back out there and do it again. And that's one thing that you can definitely respect with both of these programs. Haven't started conference play yet, but you wouldn't know these two teams were not conference rivals, but the way that they've been playing hard tonight. These two teams did meet almost a year ago exactly to the day. Last year, Olivet hosted BW not on September 27th, but September 28th. And Baldwin Wallace was able to win that game 2-0. And if the score holds here today, they will do exactly that again here on their home turf. On the near side, coming up the sideline is Aspinall, and he is not able to hold off the two defenders, but he does win his team a throw-in about 10 yards off the corner pole. Checking in for the Yellow Jackets is Braden Beggs, the sophomore. He will replace Owen Ray as the senior, who had the 2 goals in the first half. Has not had an opportunity to try to get a third goal yet here in half number 2. As Olivet gets that ball out of the goal box, as Baldwin Wallace will send it back in, headed out by Holland. Some good competitive action here in the midfield, and it's going to be Olivet who wins that ball. They have a 5-on-4 break here, and so if they can play this right, there will be a scoring opportunity. They're going to kick it out wide, putting it towards the middle of the net. Jackson, and it is over the net. Oh, that was an opportunity. A 5-on-4 break. It resulted in Marcel Jackson streaking down the field. If he could get that ball down, we got a 2-1 game. But instead, he was going just a bit too fast and couldn't get quite the right touch on it. And that one, folks, indeed went through the crossbars of the football field goal posts. And so if we're counting field goal post kicks tonight, we got 4 goals. But we are not, so it's just still 2-0 Baldwin Wallace here with 14:59 remaining in the second half. It's been really a half where Olivet has had possession and scoring opportunity advantages. But they've just not quite been able to get one back to try to draw even with BW. And now BW, they're going to draw a penalty on Olivet, as that was Braden Beggs, who just checked in, who fell down hard, was checking his shoulder when he got up, made sure that he was feeling okay to keep going on out there. And this time Beggs not able to get a great first touch on it, and it's going to go out of bounds to Olivet on the far side. Here comes the throw in. That never even stayed in bounds, or did it? I don't know. I guess they said it did. And so that's going to maintain possession for Olivet. Although a really nice play off the back line for Baldwin Wallace is going to keep that in play. And now it's Richardson trying to keep it in play. So two nice attempts there, even though it did get ruled out of bounds. Espinal is the one who did a nice job of winning the ball momentarily in the midfield, although BW not able to keep it in bounds. So it's going to be Holland here giving the throw in. Bodies all over the ground, but here comes a free run. It's going to be Massaro, and Massaro not able to get the shot on net as Holland was there to say, I don't think so. But it is going to be a corner for the Yellow Jackets, and so a good scoring opportunity here as one of their first two goals tonight was the result of an opportunity from a corner kick. And so here comes the corner kick. It's going to be played, and the whistle is blown to do it over again. The referee didn't like what they saw there, so we're going to do it again. This corner kick is going to be played towards the middle, but nobody home besides an Olivet defender. And so now it's going to be played out to Olivet near midfield, but it's going to ultimately be a corner kick here. Or excuse me, a throw-in. As that ball went out of bounds around the midfield line. Just over 12 minutes remaining here in this one. Baldwin Wallace still leads 2-0. 2 goals by Owen Reyes in the first half. Olivet has had a good second half. Lots of opportunities on BW's side of the field. Just nothing doing quite yet on the scoreboard. And they're running out of time. This was a dangerous pass. And not able to gather it and control it towards the net was Baldwin Wallace. But they do have possession now. We'll see what they can do. It is Rockford. Rockford pushes it back to a teammate who has it deflected. And now once again, we got a 4-on-4 opportunity for the visitors. Olivet has it on the far side on the 30-yard line. He's got a whole bunch of people coming after him, and it's going to be ultimately out of bounds. And Olivet starting to look a little bit tired here as they've had a good second half, but it has forced them to be using up a lot of that energy and stamina, and you're really starting to see a lot of hands-on hips and knees here in the second half. And you can't help but think a little bit of frustration may be paired with that, as there have been those opportunities, but the scoreboard has remained the same. This ball is trickling towards the near side corner. It's going to be Van Portfleet who picks it up. Van Portfleet winds and punts it away from his own 10-yard line. It bounces and is going to be controlled in the midfield by Alden. Alden has 2 goals in the year for the Yellow Jackets. The Yellow Jackets regain possession here on the far side. Going up the sideline, punting it towards the middle. Going to be played nicely by Holland on the back end for Olivet. It is going to be controlled momentarily before getting pushed out of bounds. That was Rockford trying to gather it together to be able to get some sort of opportunity towards the net. As we're under 10 minutes here in half number 2. Trying to get the attack started is Jackson, and Jackson's going to get a whistle. But this whistle does give an opportunity for Baldwin Wallace to get back on the defensive side of things. Lots of players, both sides now showing some of that fatigue. We have had lots of action, so they have shown good reason for being tired here on this Saturday afternoon, as that ball is momentarily played and won by Baldwin Wallace in the midfield. It will be touched and not cleared forward by Aspinall, and instead it's going to be Marcel Jackson coming up the far side. Jackson, though, challenged nicely near the corner. That was Rockford, who did a nice job to keep up with the speedy and tall Jackson. But it is going to be a corner kick for Olivet. 8:50 remaining here in the second half. The score is 2-0, and it looks like they're going to bring over Kyle Buchan to do the honors on the corner kick. So Buchan going to do a lefty kick here from the corner. He boots it towards the net. Trying to get a head on it is a Olivet attacker. Not able to do so successfully, so it isn't get played back to the back line here in Jackson Gano. Gano's going to use the left foot, and he's going to try to get an attack started. It is going to play nicely for Olivet to get a shot towards the net, but a nice job there on the back line by Jason Gomez. And Gomez able to push it out of bounds and force a throw-in. $7:53 remaining. Time continues to tick and wind down on the Comets, who are doing anything they can to try to get a goal and get a goal closer. This one, though, is going to be played nicely by Warwick, who just simply grabbed that over the head of an Olivet attacker. And at this point, Baldwin Wallace likely will continue to try to get this clock to keep on rolling with some possession down on the other side of the field. Olivet, though, has other ideas. And Coach Carter's got to be very pleased with the effort of his team here in the second half, while Coach Ayers has to be happy with his team in maintaining this lead. This is going to be Van Portfleet making a save, as that was a shot off the foot of number 30, Braden Beggs, who's had some action here in the second half. Van Portfleet, again, was able to make an initial touch, but was not able to make a full, complete save. And then ultimately, he was able to maintain it. Now Jackson going down hard, as coming out of the net was Warwick to make sure he didn't get an opportunity on net. Jackson was looking for some sort of flag to go flying in the air, but he wasn't going to get it, as the goaltender was able to make that play on the ball before any contact with the body. Olivet now once again putting it towards the middle of the net. Dangerous time as that ball bounces around. It's going to be tried to be put on net, and unfortunately for Olivet, there was not much force behind that one, and so it is going to be Baldwin Wallace maintaining possession here now on the near side. Al-Halabi bringing the ball down the field. Holland clears it out for the visitors. In the second half, we've seen a lot of depth continue to be used, and Al-Halabi for Baldwin Wallace has done a nice job getting first to a couple of balls. And again, something that you want to see for Baldwin Wallace, some of this youth having some opportunities to make something happen. Al-Halabi, just a freshman. And so getting some good playing time and getting him opportunities to be able to be a really strong part of that attack is a really good deal for Baldwin Wallace. We now will have a large group of substitutions here with 5:17 remaining in the game, as we'll see a number of players checking out. We'll try to make sure we can get the names of the players who checked in here with just 5 minutes remaining for you momentarily. But again, we did have quite a number of substitutions here, more than 5 that came in to the game here for the Yellow Jackets. As on the far side of the field, the Yellow Jackets maintain possession. They're going to try to get a scoring opportunity here towards the net. And it is going to be still a throw-in in Yellow Jackets ball. Olivet, though, still fighting, still working hard, still chasing after every ball. Although coming up the near side now here for Baldwin Wallace, trying to make something happen. As the ball continues to be fought for in the midfield, that was Mason Starkey, the senior from Johnstown, Ohio. And now there's a throw in here for Olivet. It's going to be brought back as that throw-in was not taken with an appropriate ball or from the appropriate spot. So checking in now for Baldwin Wallace, Mason Starkey, Connor Carroll, Michael Giganti, Brendan Waters, Mike Kane, Matthew Skladani, Owen Reyes. So a whole host of seniors getting to see the field here together in the final minutes of this one. We also have a change in the net as Michael Juergens is indeed in the game now as he replaces Seth Warwick for the final 4 minutes of this one. As we'll have a free kick right here in front of me, the football field's 47-yard line. The ball is in the air. It's going to be played by Baldwin Wallace, seeing if they can get something going towards the net. That is Starkey, who's fighting, battling, working to try to get something to happen, but Starkey is going to commit a foul. And so with 3:12 remaining, it's going to be Van Poortvliet who comes up and takes this kick, looking to see if he can try to get his team a scoring opportunity here late. As that ball again is in the air. A nice ball, but headed wisely away by Baldwin Wallace, and it is going to go out of bounds. So a throw in here with 2:47 remaining. Both teams playing hard to the whistle here. It's going to be ultimately stolen away and booted out momentarily. Loading up is Olivet, putting it back towards the net, and it's going to be a huge collision. And that huge collision happened inside the goal box. But it's going to be a foul on Olivet. The main concern right now, though, was that was a very hard hit for an Olivet attacker down in that goal box. And what a great sight to see him be able to get up on his feet. A really big collision there. Again, folks, we've seen a number of physical plays here in the second half. These are two competitive teams, no malcontent, but just two teams leaving it all on the field. And so Juergens is now going to be doing the honors of kicking the free kick here for the Yellow Jackets with just over 2 minutes remaining here in the second half. Really glad to see all players okay there after that hit. As Juergens boots it to the far side of the field. A nice job there by Baldwin Wallace to keep that in the side of the field. More players hitting the turf and more players hitting the turf again, as that was Starkey who ran into an Olivet Comet. If the score holds here in the final 2 minutes, Baldwin Wallace will improve to 4-6-1, and Olivet College will fall to 1-3-2. A much-needed victory it would be for Baldwin Wallace, as they had dropped 4 straight one-goal contests. As Starkey wins possession here in the midfield, looking to try to get it forward was Reyes, but Reyes not able to get much of a foot on that one. And so Olivet will once again push it towards the south end zone here at Tressel Field. Baldwin Wallace has the ball. Here they come. They're pushing it up the field, looking to try to make something happen. That was Kane. Kane was looking for his teammates. That's number 16, Brendan Waters. a Lakewood, Ohio native, but not able to make anything happen there. And now there's another player down for Olivet. Looks like this player is holding his shoulder. So we hope this young man is okay. A very physical contest. We hope everyone can make it to their next conference match in one piece, as we have just 54 seconds remaining here. You never like to see an injury ever, but especially on a play that happens in the final 54 seconds of a game that is already decided. And a nice bit of applause there from the home crowd as the injured defender walks off the field. Unfortunately, this player does appear to be still in a bit of pain. That's the senior number 2, Logan Rice, for Olivet. So we hope Logan is okay and can get back into action soon for Olivet. Coming in to replace him for Olivet is another senior, Nolan McCrillis. And so we will soon get the free kick off here to play out the final 54 seconds of this one. And there's the whistle. So Van Portfleet is going to boot it away. Jackson looking to get under it. He cannot. And so it's going to be played in one by Baldwin Wallace in the midfield as they draw a whistle. Lots of whistles here today between two very competitive, fiery squads. As Juergens boots it ahead to Waters. Waters looking to see if he can make something happen on his senior night in the final seconds. Instead, going to be stolen away by Olivet. Olivet looking to see if they can have one more opportunity to get something towards the net. That's going to be a shot, but it's just a few yards wide of the net. And as the clock dwindles under 10 seconds, we're going to have a Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jacket victory here tonight. And the final score is your Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets 2, the University of Olivet Comets nothing. In a very hard-fought non-conference battle here today, as Baldwin Wallace scored twice in tonight's first half, and that was enough. Both goals by senior Owen Reyes. And tonight, Olivet played much better in the second half, but it was just too little too late, as their 3 shots on goals did not result in any goals. And both teams here exchanging some high fives after a hard-fought contest. And these two teams will get ready to begin their conference seasons in the next week here in the MIA and the OAC. And so thank you so much for listening to us here to some Yellow Jacket Soccer on Flow College. I've been Brendan Dames. It's been a great evening of soccer here in Berea. And we do hope you join us next time for some awesome action. Baldwin Wallace going to be starting OAC play. Come out and see him play here at Tressel Field. Thank you so much for listening all night. Have a good night.